And welcome back to Ask Coach Wendy alongside Wendy Mader. I'm Dave Erickson. By the way, if you do have a question for Coach Wendy, use the hashtag AskCoachWendy on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. And today's topic is about planning your first Ironman triathlon. A lot of us start with a sprint, Olympic. We get a little more ambitious, go a half Ironman. Wendy, the big enchilada. What are some tips and suggestions for doing that full distance Ironman?
Well, I think first of all, I always make sure athletes know that if they're going to do an Ironman, that they need to know that the 8 to 12 weeks out from race date is going to be the bulk of their training. So if there's someone like a stay-at-home mom or dad, they might not want to be training for an Ironman during the summer when their kids are home. So usually stay-at-home moms or dads should choose like maybe a springtime or a fall Ironman, so they're going to do the bulk of their training while their kids are in school. The second thing I like to talk about is the Ironman a destination or not. A lot of people choose an Ironman because they want to go to Cozumel or they want to go to Cabo or they want to go to Hawaii. So you want to make sure what's the goal. Is it a destination Ironman? Or is it just a bucket list? Or is it, maybe a competition? They have a race time goal in mind. The third thing I like to talk about is, does it have to be a World Triathlon Corporation, WTC sanctioned Ironman event, or do they want to just do an iron distance? Because there are, multiple companies out there that do iron distance races that are not as corporate as World Triathlon Corporation. So that's important. Again, usually if it's a bucket list, I just want to do the distance. It doesn't matter. But a lot of people, want the hype and they want, a WTC sanctioned event. But the biggest thing is the volume of training. People need to know that the bulk of the training is 8 to 12 weeks out, and they need to pick a time of year that they like to train 8 to 12 weeks out. I like doing fall Ironmans because I love to train in the summer heat. If you don't like to train in the summer, don't pick a fall Ironman. If you don't like to train in the winter, don't pick a spring Ironman. So I just let athletes know up front what to expect.
So a lot of back timing for whenever that race is to determine, okay, I need to mentally be prepared to dedicate this amount of time before that Ironman.
Right. Because some people, I want to do an Ironman, but if they've never really educated themselves, it could throw them off. And then they're like, well, I'm going on vacation during that time. Or something comes up that it's like, well, if you knew that a year ago, why did you sign up for an Ironman, a week after your month off or your month vacation or something like that? But they didn't know. I mean, I did my first Ironman in 1997. I had no idea. I just trained a lot and I did it and I was successful, but I had no clue. I was in school though. It was easier a little bit to train for when you're in school.
And just to take it one step further on these destination Ironman races is to keep in mind what it's going to take to prepare and pack for those. And because sometimes it's so overwhelming, if you're going to go to a place that's, halfway across the country, there's a lot more that goes into, I just need to pack my bike. There's the nutrition, there's preparing for different climates.
Oh, exactly. The flight, the time change. Speaking of time change, I like to go, if I'm going to a place like Kona, which is 4 hours time difference from Colorado, I like to go at least 4 days before the race. I think a day, going out a day in advance for every hour of time change, just to acclimate a little bit better, is very helpful. And like you said, the bike box, the traveling, how are they going to ship their bike? Are they going to fly with their bike, transport it some other way? Again, there's so much more in an Ironman than some bike and run. It's just a whole new enchilada. It's not just a triathlon.
And for first timers who are thinking about traveling with their bike box, CO2 cartridges are not allowed inside the box. So you wouldn't know that if you've never done it before.
That's a good point.
And finally, you talked about you're doing the distance regardless of who's affiliated with it. But the prices can vary quite a bit because if you are going for that WTC experience, you're going to pay for that experience versus maybe a HITS or a Rev or a challenge.
Oh, absolutely. And you're going to pay for what you get for it. You're going to pay for the experience. If you're not someone who likes crowded, huge races, then you might want to choose a HITS or another company's event. Like maybe, I don't know if the Great Floridian's still around, but I know Vineman is still around. There's one in Oklahoma. They have a few hundred people. They don't have a few thousand people. So I know athletes who just do not like that amount of people. It overwhelms them. So they might want to choose a race that's a little bit smaller.
All right.
They're still going to get the distance in.
That's right. It is about accomplishing the distance. And if you want certain support, you want the certain medal or the branding associated with it, then prepare to pay for that.
Exactly.
All right. If you have a question for Coach Wendy, use the hashtag AskCoachWendy and visit her at T2Coaching.com for more information. All right, Coach. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks.
Thank you.